Elon Musk is now one of the very few people who've ever dared to challenge Vladimir Putin. Today, Mr. Musk is not only the richest person in the world, but the person with the power to tweet about anything that can make things go crazy. He has said or tweeted many things over the years, but this is getting dangerously intense and mind-blowing. Elon Musk just showed the readiness to face Mr. Putin with his official challenge and had an intense response by many Russians. Elon Musk has gone too far against Russia and Mr. Putin at this point, and there is no turning back now. What Elon Musk did lately to Ukraine may go down in history as one of the most remarkable acts of human compassion to have occurred in recent memory. All his latest actions demonstrate his character as a selfless humanitarian. And now, anything that Mr. Musk says or does is not taken lightly, especially not by his Twitter followers. Instead of following the lead of many of self-absorbed wealthy people, Mr. Musk is taking the initiative to fight for peace and human life preservation in Ukraine, both in words and actions. Elon Musk's Starlink network is already working in Ukraine, and the entrepreneur is offering free electric car charging to the country's electric vehicle owners. And if you thought that was enough, you are wrong. Elon said that any Ukrainian employees recruited to defend their country against the Russian invasion would get at least 3 months' pay from Mr. Musk's electric vehicle company, Tesla. Sounds like a lot, right? Well, let's take a look at it. Since the Russian invasion, people have been concerned about the likelihood that Ukraine's internet may be shut off, either due to hacking or as a result of the destruction of the internet infrastructure by the Russians. But despite a few minor outages and attacks on government websites, there hasn't been a full internet blackout for the most part. However, following Ukraine's Vice Prime Minister Mikhailo Fedorov's tweet to Elon Musk seeking the deployment of the Starlink network to his country, the billionaire responded by sending help to the Republic of Ukraine. Satellite dishes from Starlink, known as dishes, began arriving in Ukraine earlier this month. In addition, Mr. Musk turned on the country's Starlink space internet connection, igniting a flurry of positive news about his world-saving philanthropy. However, while it's not yet clear when or if Ukraine will require an alternative internet provider, having the support of the world's wealthiest person cannot be a bad thing. The most important thing to remember, though, is whether or not it will be useful in the long run. Nevertheless, the disruptions of the internet connections have been reported in numerous regions of the nation. Currently, the business states that internet speeds are in the region of 80% of what is believed to be golden standard. According to the forecasts, the situation will only deteriorate over the coming several days and weeks. But users were also cautioned that Starlink should not be considered a substitute for existing phone and internet networks. In the case of a blackout in Kyiv, the gadgets would be immensely beneficial in allowing journalists and politicians to connect with the rest of the world. Though only a few individuals have access to these technologies, the Starlink level of information and connectivity is undoubtedly superior to a complete absence of communication and internet. But again we ask, will it be safe? A lot of people have already expressed their deepest concerns with the safety of using satellite internet during the battle periods, believing that the Russian military may strike the satellite dishes and disrupt the service. John Scott Railton of the Citizen Lab, a senior researcher, claimed on Twitter that Mr. Musk's offer of assistance was great to see, but he advised people to proceed with caution, pointing out that Russia has decades of experience in attacking individuals by intercepting their satellite communications. The greater threat to ordinary individuals is likely to come from explaining why they are using the device, rather than the possibility of being recognized by drones flying overhead. As a response, SpaceX has strengthened its efforts in cybersecurity, although Mr. Musk has personally recognized the issue and advised Ukrainians to exercise caution while using the tech. But let's take a vote. between fighting a war blind with no communication or taking the risk and staying connected despite the threat. Which one is more worthy? Well, we bet to many of us the latter sounds more risk-worthy, because what other options are there? Furthermore, Starlink is not the only satellite internet service provider in the vicinity. According to Viasat, a commercial satellite internet provider, the company suffered a cyber event the very day Russia invaded Ukraine, negatively impacting broadband services. According to the company, the internet connection for fixed broadband users in Ukraine and elsewhere on their European KASAT network has been affected due to a partial network breakdown. An investigation and analysis of European networks and systems are currently underway to determine the root cause, and additional network safeguards are being implemented to prevent further disruptions. At the same time, impacted customers are being reconnected, according to the company in a statement they released. Moreover, it is war, where there is no neutral side. Everybody eventually has to pick a side, and Mr. Musk seems to be doing all he can to actually help the people. An email sent to Tesla's employees in its Europe, Middle East, and Africa headquarters stated that when Russia invaded Ukraine last month and the Ukrainian president asked for help with the Starlink tech, the company accelerated the supply of Starlink terminals and offered pay time off to employees who were required to fight for their country. According to the email signed by Tesla's head of Northern Europe, any Ukrainian employees recruited to safeguard their country against Russian invasion will get at least 3 months' worth of their income from the electric vehicle maker. Even though Tesla does not technically have workers in Ukraine, it's possible that Ukrainian residents in the nearby factories had been summoned to the country after Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky mobilized reserves in February in preparation for Russia's invasion of the country. Tesla's email also thanked the staff for their assistance in sending Starlink internet terminals to Ukraine. In addition, the email added that Tesla has reached out to Ukraine's approximately 5,000 car owners to inform them that they may take advantage of free supercharger stations in Poland, Hungary, and Slovakia if they have a Tesla vehicle. Tesla's superchargers in Poland and Slovakia were made free charging stations during the second week of March as part of its free charging initiative. Not only has Tesla backed Ukraine throughout its fight against Russia, but it has the whole IT industry on its side. While Uber is giving free transportation from the Ukrainian border to key Polish cities for up to 100,000 Ukrainian refugees, Airbnb provides free short-term housing for up to 50,000 migrants in the same region. In Ukraine, more than a dozen telecom companies are canceling or eliminating international roaming costs for their customers. So we are inclined to conclude that one thing is sure: Mr. Musk does care. Until the next video, and stay safe.